Afternoon, everyone. Really good to see you, and welcome to ReLaunch. Welcome back to ReLaunch if you've been before, or welcome to ReLaunch if this is your first time in Gilcomston Church. It's great to have a chance to have some tea, some coffee, some soup, some sandwiches. So welcome. We're starting slightly early today because for the next few weeks we're going to do something called Life at ReLaunch. And so we're looking forward to doing this. And so what I'm going to, in a couple of minutes, I'm going to give a short talk, as we normally do on a Wednesday. But just for the next couple of minutes, before I talk, I want to ask you a question. And then you can have a little chance to talk where you're at with your neighbour about this. And the question I have for you is this. It should be on the screen as well. What is your idea of a good life? That's the question. What's your idea of what is a good life? I'm going to leave that with you. Have a couple of minutes to chat, and then I'll come up and speak in a couple of minutes. Okay, I hope you've had a chance to, nice and loud, good. I hope you've had a chance to talk about what you think a good life is. What is a good life? Who has it? What is involved in a good life? We're in Gilcomston Church, and at Gilcomston Church, as in all churches that follow and belong to the Lord Jesus, we believe that Jesus makes some massive claims about life. Some huge claims about life, about what a good life is. Jesus says a lot about a life that has joy and meaning, even beauty, a life where there's real hope in the face of hardship and suffering, a life of love and contentment. Those are massive claims that say a lot about what a good life can look like. Jesus doesn't say, come to me and I'll give you a few tips on how to make your life a bit better. He doesn't say, let me be your life coach. He boldly claims to be the center of a good life. And we want to spend the next few weeks asking of Jesus, what does he mean of that? What does he mean by that? And so I want us to consider what these incredible claims by this Palestinian man that lived 2,000 years ago, how are they relevant for me and for you here in Aberdeen in 2025? To get there, I need us to think about something that's maybe not very interesting or sexy or exciting. I want us to think about truth. Truth, because Jesus says the truth will set you free. That's fine, okay. But what is truth? I suspect all of us, at some point in our lives, have had some big questions that we've been faced with, that we've come up against. Questions like, where did I come from? Who are we? Who am I? What are humans? Why am I here? How should I live? Where's my life going? I wonder if you've ever asked those questions of your life. It might be sort of that rare moment where you're outside one night and you look up and the sky's clear. You see all these stars. Or maybe you've seen the Northern Lights. And you go, that is incredible. Wow. What is my place in the midst of this vast universe? Or maybe that you've gone through something really difficult in your life. And you're going, well, man, what's the point? Where's the good life in all this? So, are there answers to some of the big questions in life? How do we answer the big questions in life? Do we just basically say, well, life, it is what you make it, It is what you make it. Whatever is best for you might not be best for me. Your description of a good life might be different to my description of a good life. It might even be, well, what's the most popular version of what a good life is according to my city, the place where I live, the people I know. That's one way of looking at it. Another way is to say, well, it might actually be possible that there's only one true answer. Is it possible there's only one true answer to what a good life is? Because truth doesn't simply bend to our preferences and feelings. If a person steps off the roof of a house, it doesn't matter what time of day it is, it doesn't matter what year it is, it doesn't matter who they are, what their cultural background is, it doesn't matter if they're wealthy or poor, young or old, it does not matter, they will not float. They're going to fall. That's true, regardless of how they might feel. Yeah? It's a bit like that sort of, the Roadrunner cartoon where he sort of runs off the edge of a cliff and he keeps running. That's not true, is it? That's just a cartoon. It's make-believe. The reality is that gravity is absolutely true for all people everywhere here in the world. It's true. It wasn't invented. It's true. I don't know if you've heard of the guy called Isaac Newton. He's the man credited with coming up with the law of gravity. But here's the thing about Isaac Newton, okay? He didn't invent gravity. He discovered it. Yeah? He discovered gravity. And is it therefore the same with the big questions in life? We don't invent the answers. Could it be that we discover the answer? So we know the importance of truth, really, in all parts of our life. You go to the doctor, okay? I was at the doctor last week. Lots of us, we've been to the doctor recently. We go to the doctor, And let's say we sit down with our doctor, and just imagine they turn to us and say, do you know what, I'm a doctor that just likes to go with how I feel on the day. So I'm going to give you a diagnosis based on how I feel, what I feel is right now. You go, what are you talking about? No, I want a doctor that will give me a diagnosis that is true. It's based on fact that's true. In fact, an approach to medicine that isn't based on truth and reality is dangerous. So if we can see the importance of truth that's true for all of us in the area of gravity, medicine, so many other parts of life, why is it that when we come to things like religion, then we say things like this? Well, that religion, that might be good for you. It's not true for me. Why? Why is that? Why do we think that the good life is whatever we want to make it? And it might be different for you, and me. Is it not possible that the big questions in life have only one true answer? And if that is the case, wouldn't you want to discover it? This is where Jesus comes in. Jesus makes these massive claims about life and about truth and about the good life. Jesus says that just like gravity is true for all people, there is only one true answer as to what the good life is. Jesus says it's about this word worship, which, and some of you might go, oh man, here we go, that's a religious word. But according to Jesus, it's not actually just a religious word. According to Jesus, there's no such thing as an atheist. An atheist is somebody that doesn't believe that there's a God. Jesus says all of us, even just in the way that we function in our lives, we actually worship God, whether we like it or not. The question is, who do we worship, or what do we worship? We are all worshippers, even if we don't recognize that truth. Because worship is where we sort of revere, where we sort of find happiness and delight in something. It's what we dream about when we're falling asleep at night. Oh man, I just wish this could be true. Worship is giving yourself to something, your time, your talent, your energy, your passions. If you do that with something, Jesus says you're worshiping it. And so by Jesus' understanding of worship, the question isn't, will you worship, but who or what you worship. And that's true for every single person here today. Much of what we worship, we see in our community. So lots of people might worship money, the pursuit of money, or power, or sex, or possessions, or popularity. All of them turn out to disappoint in the end, though, don't they? But instead of acknowledging this, we're sort of suckers, aren't we? We keep going back. We keep going back again and again. You know, they don't satisfy. All of our functional gods will always disappoint. But this isn't just a modern problem. There was a man that lived 3,000 years ago. He had everything. He had 700 wives. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? But he did. He had 700 wives. I think, Neil, you might have mentioned this a few weeks ago, did you? This guy's called Solomon. 700 wives, 300 girls on the side. He was the ancient Hugh Hefner. He had everything. He was a multi-billionaire. This is what this guy said, Solomon. He said, I denied myself nothing my eyes desired. I refused my heart no pleasure. My heart took delight in all my work. Yet when I surveyed all that my hands had done and what I had toiled to achieve, everything was meaningless, a chasing after the wind. So this is a man with all the wisdom, all the power, all the success, all the sex, all the pleasure, all the popularity that somebody might want. And he says it's completely meaningless. What about a modern example? What about Jim Carrey? Jim Carrey said this, I think everybody should get rich and famous and do everything they ever dreamed of so that they can see it's not the answer. So what does Jesus have to do with the good life? Jesus makes this massive claim. He claims to be the only one who can offer the good life we all desire. He says the pursuit of happiness without God will just frustrate you, it will tire you out, and will not fulfill you. You will not have the good life you so desperately want. Do we not all want a good life? He says it's like being a flower in a vase. I'm trying to see if we have any. We don't. Sometimes we have a vase back here with some flowers in. You look at this vase with the flower in. It looks beautiful, doesn't it? I mean, I'm not massively into flowers myself, but I can still appreciate it. They look beautiful. The problem is they're dead. They're dead. They're withering. Before your eyes, that vase of beautiful flowers will wither and die. It might feel okay or look okay at the moment, but it will die. And it's the same with us. We might feel good, we might feel confident, we might feel okay, we might not. But either way, fundamentally, we're like the flower in the vase. If we are cut off from our source of life, our lives will not satisfy. They will not be the good life we so desperately want. We're nearly there, okay? But just before I finish, I want to show you or read to you some words that Jesus himself said. Okay, Jesus said this in John chapter 10, and he's speaking to a crowd of people, and he's using a figure of speech where he's comparing people to sheep. He doesn't mean by that people are thick, like sheep. He's meaning that, like sheep, we need guidance and direction. We need good direction. So this is what Jesus says leading up to these words that are on the screen. Jesus says, "Truly I tell you, I am the gate of the sheep. All who have come before me are thieves, robbers, but the sheep have not listened to them. I am the gate. Whoever enters through me will be saved. They will come in and go out and find pasture. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. But I have come that they may have life and have it to the full." Two things I want you to notice about what Jesus says. Firstly, the truly good life begins now, but it goes on to eternity. So just after these words, Jesus says something else. He says, "My sheep listen to my voice. I know them. They follow me. I give them eternal life, and they shall never perish. No one will snatch them out of my hands." Okay? So Jesus promises a good life that is eternal. Second thing I want you to notice, Jesus makes himself the key, the gate to getting it. He says, "I am the gate for the sheep." He is the way in to the pasture. He is the way into the good life forever. Jesus doesn't say, "I'm one of the gates." He doesn't say, "You can come and choose my gate if you want. There are some others you can choose as well." No, he says, "I'm the gate." He says, "I am the way to life." Later on, we looked at this before Christmas actually, but later on, Jesus says another statement. He says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." That's a crazy claim. It's wild. It's amazing. Could it be that Jesus is offering the only possible way to the good life that we all crave? He puts himself in a completely different category. Buddha claimed to teach the way to enlightenment. Muhammad claimed to be a prophet of God, but Jesus stands on his own and says he is the way, the truth, and the life. That he has the power to give us the life that we so desperately need. It's why he's been called the man that you can't ignore. There's a quote by, I don't know if any of you have seen the Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe films, or maybe even read the books or heard the books at some point. The guy that wrote that, a guy called C.S. Lewis, this is something he said. He said, "A man who was merely a man and said the sort of things Jesus said would not be a great moral teacher. He would either be a lunatic on the level with a man who says he's a poached egg, or else he would be the devil of hell. You must make a choice. Either this man was and is the Son of God, or else he is something much worse. Okay, so I'm going to close now. Truth matters. It matters for you. It matters for each of us. It matters in physics with gravity. It matters in medicine when we go and see our doctors. We can't function in our society unless the signs that we have on our roads actually point us in the right direction. We want our justice systems to be based on truth, not lies. Our relationships don't function well unless they're based on truth. And Jesus says the truth about the good life is to know and to be in a relationship with him as Savior and King by worshiping him, centering your life around him. That's the only way to find pleasure and happiness and meaning that lasts. Well, how does he give us that? Well, we're going to look at that over the next few weeks in Life Course. It's too big to ignore. It's too significant to dismiss. You've got to do something with Jesus, friends. You've got to do something with it. You've got to do something with what he says. If he's not telling the truth, he's not a good man, he's an evil man. But if he is telling the truth, he changes everything and offers to change our lives for the better. Okay, I'm going to leave you with a question just now. So just for a couple of minutes now, here's a question I want you to ask. It's on the screens. Who do you think Jesus was? Okay? There you go. Have a chat about that at your tables. Who do you think Jesus was? And by the way, we'll do this for a few minutes. If you have any questions that come out from today, there's going to be a chance for you to ask a question as well in a couple of minutes. So have a chat at your tables. If there's any questions that come out, we'll try and answer a couple just now, and then that'll be us done, and we'll crack on with our day. Okay? So crack on with that question then. Who do you think Jesus was or is?